With all the recent controversy and discussion surrounding Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew, and the removal of many of his titles, honours and appointments, it's worth taking a closer look to see what distinctions, for want of a better word, he actually held. Today we're going to look at Andrew's military career, subsequent awards and decorations. Following numerous requests from viewers, this video will look at Andrew's military career briefly, including his service in the Falklands, and then examine his medals, decorations and honorary appointments, before highlighting which ones of them have been removed and which he's kept. Age 19, the young Andrew joined the Royal Navy in 1979. Entering Britannia Royal Naval College, his intention was to become a naval aviator and join the Fleet Air Arm. For this, he would conduct a series of tests and examinations. Between March and April, Andrew undertook initial pilot training and assessment at Dartmouth Naval College. Successfully passing his tests and then graduating from officer training, Andrew was commissioned as a sub-lieutenant in September 1981. He would then go on to his specialisation training, which was initially elementary flying training with the Royal Air Force and then naval flight training at HMS Seahawk, qualifying as a helicopter pilot. Andrew would then go on to advanced training on the Sea King helicopter. In early 1982, he joined 820 Naval Air Squadron aboard HMS Invincible, an aircraft carrier. The squadron's primary role would be anti-submarine warfare. Other roles would include search and rescue, transport and logistics, and general fleet support. In April 1982, Argentina invaded the Falkland Islands, triggering the Falklands War. HMS Invincible was one of only 2 operational British aircraft carriers available at the time, and played a central role in the naval task force sent to reclaim the territory. The other carrier was HMS Hermes. 820 Squadron consisted of 9 Sea King helicopters, and with the conflict announced, it was beefed up with a further 2 Sea King helicopters from another squadron. Despite government concerns over the risks of having the Queen's son involved in a combat zone, the Queen insisted that Andrew stay with his ship and serve with his squadron in the Falklands. When the task force reached Ascension Island on its way down south to the Falklands, the squadron would be involved in a massive logistics operation to lift personnel, equipment and stores aboard the ships of the assembling task force as they arrived off the island and redistribute it amongst the fleet. The squadron would also use the journey period to conduct an intensive workup of training, trials and refresher flying. This would include surface searches, fighter evasion techniques and live weapons drops. During the conflict itself, Andrew would be involved in flying missions that included anti-submarine and surface warfare, missile decoy operations, casualty evacuation, transport and search and rescue. Here's an example of one such mission Andrew was in. On the 23rd of April, Andrew and the squadron were involved in an SAR or search and rescue operation in connection with a ditched Sea King helicopter from HMS Hermes. Andrew's helicopter, after intensively searching the ocean for both the pilot and an air crewman who was also on the helicopter, managed to locate the pilot at 21:30 hours and rescue him. Sadly, the air crewman was never found. Andrew's squadron would also be tasked with countering the threat posed by enemy submarines, in addition to chaff laying during missile attacks. Another operation involving the squadron was the location and rescuing of a downed Harrier pilot. Around the 1st of June, the pilot was shot down by a Roland missile whilst on a reconnaissance sortie near Stanley Airport. Ejecting into the ocean, he was finally located, having spent over 8 hours in the sea, very close to the enemy-held coastline, and when rescued was some 120 miles from Invincible. During the conflict, Andrew witnessed the attack on the Atlantic conveyor. He stated, "I saw the Atlantic conveyor myself. She was a burning wreck. It was quite horrific." During the attack on the Atlantic conveyor, a chaff shell fired by a Royal Navy warship in self-defence narrowly missed Andrew's helicopter. He said, "The shell was fired by chance in our general direction, and for a moment it was on a steady bearing, which meant it was going to hit us. There was a moment of panic, and I had the adrenaline rush of a lifetime. Thankfully, it passed in front of the helicopter. Andrew's helicopter was then tasked with rescuing survivors from the stricken Atlantic conveyor. Andrew would also undertake missions as an Exocet decoy laying chaff to protect warships from an attack. Other Sea King squadrons would also insert special forces during covert missions on the island, such as beach reconnaissance, observing enemy movements, or raids. Although no Sea Kings were shot down in combat, 3 were lost in accidents, mainly related to bad weather. Another 3 on the flight deck of the Atlantic conveyor would also go down with the ship when it got struck by a missile. Speaking of his flying experiences during the war, Andrew recalled, "You tend to become a sort of zombie. All you do is eat, sleep and fly. I had an awful lot of time to myself, sitting in my cabin and now and then ducking the odd missile." After the war, when HMS Invincible returned to Portsmouth, the royal family, along with other naval families, welcomed the crew home. He would be awarded a South Atlantic Medal for his service. After the war, Andrew would continue serving with Invincible until 1983. He would be later described by colleagues as an excellent pilot and a promising naval officer. In 1983, he trained to fly on the Lynx helicopter, and in February 1984 was promoted to lieutenant, serving on HMS Brazen, a Type 22 frigate, until 1986. He then undertook a staff course at Greenwich Naval College. He would go on to complete a helicopter warfare instructor's course at RNAS Yeovilton, serve with 702 Naval Air Squadron, and also deploy to the Far East on HMS Edinburgh in 1988. From 1989 to 1991, he served as a flight commander and Lynx helicopter pilot on HMS Campbelltown, also acting as a force aviation officer for a NATO maritime group. He was promoted to lieutenant commander in 1992 and completed staff training and went on to command the minehunter HMS Cottesmore from 93 to 94. In January 1997, he started work at the Ministry of Defence in London as a staff officer in the Directorate of Naval Operations, and 2 years later was promoted to commander, working in the diplomacy section of naval staff for international relations between the Royal Navy and foreign entities. Prince Andrew ended his naval career after 22 years' service in 2001, being dined out on the aircraft carrier Ark Royal. Of note as well during his career, Andrew successfully completed the Royal Marines All-Arms Commando course, earning a Greenberry. This is designed as an intensive course for tri-service personnel in order that they can support Royal Marine operations and isn't the full Royal Marine training, which is about, I think, 3 times longer. Andrew's campaign, commemoration and service medals are as follows. For the Falklands War, South Atlantic Medal with rosette, which denotes participation in the combat zone. The Naval Long Service and Good Conduct Medal with 2 bars. This was only issued to officers in recent years. Queen Elizabeth II Silver Jubilee Medal 1977. Queen Elizabeth II Golden Jubilee Medal 2002. The Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal 2012. The Queen Elizabeth II Platinum Jubilee Medal 2022. Furthermore, Andrew has the New Zealand 1990 Commemoration Medal. The medal was awarded to mark the 150th anniversary of the Treaty of Waitangi. I tried my best there, but I may have butchered that one. A Canadian Forces decoration with at least 1 bar. The CD is awarded for years of honourable service in the Canadian Armed Forces or to certain Commonwealth personnel who meet the criteria. And a commemorative medal for the Centennial of Saskatchewan, a province in Canada. This was awarded for the centennial celebration of Saskatchewan in 2005. All these medals have been classed as earned during his career and not honorary. Therefore, they remain unaffected by the removal of his royal or honorary titles and is allowed to keep them, to my knowledge. Going on to his decorations and honours. Speaking of honorary titles, over the decades as a third child of Queen Elizabeth II, Andrew was granted a range of honorary titles. These included peerages such as the Duke of York and the Earl of Inverness, as well as military appointments such as Colonel of the Grenadier Guards and the honorary rank of Vice Admiral. Andrew also held several overseas honorary roles such as Colonel-in-Chief of the Royal Highland Fusiliers of Canada and Colonel-in-Chief of the Royal New Zealand Army Logistic Regiment. In 2022, his mum, Queen Elizabeth, first acted against Andrew by removing his Royal Highness style, stripping him of his honorary military titles and returning his royal patronages to the Crown, effectively ending his role as a working royal. The reason behind these decisions are well covered elsewhere, and to avoid upsetting the YouTube algorithm, I won't be discussing them here. In 2025, his brother, King Charles III, completed the process by initiating formal steps to remove Andrew's remaining honours, including his title of Prince, his peerages such as the Duke of York, and his last honorary military rank of Vice Admiral. Through what's termed letters patent or patent, depending on how you pronounce it, Charles confirmed that Andrew would no longer hold or use any royal styles or titles, leaving him known simply as Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. This is how he is now widely referred to in the media. Previously, as a royal, Andrew was also awarded the following chivalric orders or foreign decorations: Knight Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order, Knight Companion of the Most Noble Order of the Garter. Both of these, according to the Gazette, have now been cancelled and annulled as of the 30th of October 2025. His foreign decorations are the Grand Cross of the Royal Norwegian Order of St. Olav, the United Arab Emirates Collar of the Order of the Federation, the Sash of the Mexican Order of the Aztec Eagle, and the Order of Isabel the Catholic. Currently, with these foreign decorations, there is no record of any government at the time of this video revoking them, so I assume he can keep them for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you found some value from this, and I'll see you in the next one.